Today, we sit down with Navy sailor Mimi Schrader. We talk about college basketball, life at the service academies, and more. Here's the interview. What made you choose the Naval Academy over the other service academies or an ROTC program at a non-service academy?
Okay, yeah. So honestly, when I was graduating high school, I was interested in the military because of my older brother, who is an Army officer, but he's 4 years older. And so when I was looking at what schools I wanted to attend for college, I knew I wanted to play basketball. And then when kind of looking at the academies versus ROTC, I knew that if I went to an ROTC school, like a non-service academy, that I wouldn't be able to play basketball and do the ROTC program. Like that would just be two very clashing things. But the great thing about the academies is you're there for service, and to me it's just like a bonus that you get to play your sport on top of that. So that kind of narrowed down my decision to just focus on the service academies. And then from there, I kind of was like, okay, what does the Air Force offer? What does the Naval Academy offer? And then West Point. Coast Guard wasn't really in the mix for me. And so I was looking at their basketball programs, but more so I was looking at the opportunities after I graduated and what type of service that I wanted to pursue after graduating from the academy. So the decision to choose the academy was pretty easy for me, but then after that, what academy I wanted to attend and be able to play basketball at and then serve within that branch is kind of where my pros and cons list came into play.
Yeah, so the which service academy more came down to which branch of the military
Right,
you wanted to
exactly.
go into.
Because I knew I was going to be able to play basketball at any of the schools, and it was more so then, all right, I'm going to play basketball for 4 years, but let's think about, why I'm actually going to a service academy, because I want to serve and I want to be in the military, and I'm going to be doing this as a career. So
Right.
it was the mature way for me to look at, why I wanted to go to which school over than just the immediate, like, I like this basketball team the best.
Right. Yeah. So what was it like playing the collegiate sport at a service academy, and maybe how was it different than playing a sport
Totally.
at a normal non-service academy?
Totally. It was way different. I mean, so if you play a college basketball anywhere, if you play college sports at any school, you know that your time is going to be consumed by that sport. Most likely, you're not going to be able to come home for Christmas as much as you want. You're not going to get as many days off. You're going to be training in the summer. Like, those are things that happen regardless if I went to the academy or not. And I have many friends that went on to play college sports as well, and that holds true for them. But the biggest difference, I would say, between playing sports at the academy and playing basketball at the academy versus if I were to just go to any collegiate school for sports is the added military aspect to it. So on top of playing the sports and going to school, like we're getting college education. But on top of those two, most times people have to just balance school and sport. But I was balancing school, sport, and then military. And so we had formations, parades, different briefs that we would go to, professional, like hearing from, we called them 4-stall lectures. We would have awesome speakers come talk to like everyone at our school. And some of the things like the early morning formations, if we had a lift going on for basketball, like we would get excused from those things. So that was kind of nice. Because since we were playing a sport, we got out a little bit of the military obligation. But for sure, like compared to any other school, like talking to my friends, it was a very different experience. But I think it really like prepared me for where I am now in the military and like juggling life things with the military. Obviously, I don't have like practice every day, but like my time management is awesome because of it.
Right.
So
you got 3 different schedules to manage.
Yes.
Sports, school, and service.
Right. And obviously, all three of those things you want to do very well in. So it's not like you can kind of be like, oh, well, I don't have to try that hard at practice today because I need to like stay awake in class and pay attention and do my homework assignments. You can't just like not turn in the paper. But I will say, like, I was very proactive with my professors. I studied ocean engineering. And so it was a smaller major at the academy. I got to know my professors very well because, like, every other week I'd be like, hey, so we're heading out of town on Monday. I'm not going to be back till Wednesday. I know we have a test and a project. And so I got very good at being like, can we work with this or can I turn that in later? So being proactive and just, I have a planner and like my planner was full of my stuff that I needed to get done that day. So
Yeah.
long story short, it was same but different with that added military piece for sure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then it's also a good practice to be able to talk to bosses in the future too. And
Oh, totally. Like interacting, I would say, based off of like hearing from my brother's experience, who he did ROTC, hearing about his experience versus mine, I got to interact with a lot more higher ranking officers and talk to, because our school, so the teachers there were half of them were civilians and then half of them were military instructors that were teaching classes. And so it was really cool because I'd be learning about thermodynamics, but then my teacher was like a submarine officer for 15 years. And so if I had a question, I could be like, talk to him about class. But then if I had like a professional question about the military or his experience, they would share all of that with us. So I feel like I
yeah.
got to interact with a lot of different people from different communities in the Navy. And that kind of helped me pick, where I am now in naval aviation because of the conversations that I had with instructors and teachers and company officers at the academy.
Yeah. And speaking of knowledge of, military members versus civilians, is there anything you wish like everyday civilians knew about the military that's maybe a, a something that people think that's wrong or just
Yeah.
they knew better?
So it's a really good question because I think about it in terms of when I was looking at the academies and stuff. If I wasn't kind of getting recruited through basketball, I don't think I would have ever known what a service academy was, um, and how to become an officer or like just the military in general, like the structure of it and all of that. I don't really feel like is mainstream in schools and teaching today, um, because I didn't, I wasn't exposed. I mean, I knew in high school, like kids that didn't really want to pursue college would just enlist, at 18 years old and join the military. I knew about that, but I didn't understand ROTC. And I don't have, my older brother was the first one to be in the military in our family. So we don't have like any military background. So I guess the answer that I would say to that is I almost wish that there was just the opportunity of like the military being a career path for people, like being an officer in the military, going to college and, joining the military was maybe more mainstreamed into like this is a career opportunity for you. Because genuinely, I would not have known about Service Academy. And I feel like my family, because now we have two people in the military, they're like more in tune with what's going on around the world and you know talking about things going on that involve the military. Whereas if you talk to the average Joe or the average American, they might not really kind of understand, what is the military, what are these people doing for us, and that sort of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they're all stationed halfway around the world, and it's about
Right, like we're all over the place. I coached a basketball team, a high school basketball team this past fall, like winter, and I told these girls that I was training to be a pilot. They're high school girls. It was a high school varsity team, and they thought I was flying for Delta. So like there was no concept of like what the military was, and I just feel like I wish that was maybe just taught more in school so that people knew that this is a valid career opportunity and you learn so much through it. Um, or just had more of appreciation for all
Yeah.
these people that are sacrificing their time and being away from their families for everyone else's safety.
Right. Right. All right. And we've got did some more serious questions there. I think we got a couple of fun questions
All
and
right.
um sure playing basketball in college. A couple of years ago, Michigan State and North Carolina played a basketball game on an aircraft carrier.
Oh yeah.
Do military members actually then play just like pickup games on aircraft carrier? Like, does that happen more than just that one time?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
okay, so I will say that does happen on ships. I've been on aircraft carriers and they show me that they have like the floors that they can put together and put that, in um the ship that I was on, it was an LSD, so there's a well deck and they would take all the water out and then they could put a court inside the ship basically, which is super cool. And it's a huge morale boost for the crew and everyone there. But I will say that Michigan State game or the Michigan game, um, all the I mean that thing was decked out. Like it's never gonna look like that
yeah,
when we do that.
right.
Like
It
that's
looks
top notch.
more like a pickup game at the YMCA
Exactly,
than a
exactly.
college
You're not gonna
basketball game.
see that. And
Right.
the quality of play is definitely not gonna be as good. I'll tell you that. You're
Yeah.
gonna get everyone playing, but it's so cool, and I think that just kind of speaks to that ship's culture and that they do fun things like that when they have a chance to, if they need a little break in the action. I mean, that court obviously wouldn't stay up there for months on end, but if they just plan something and it really helps the morale and keeps everyone positive and just something to look forward to amongst a long deployment or just a long
Right.
job. So
Because
yeah.
you're not working 24/7. You're still human. You need breaks
Yeah,
from.
everyone needs to be able to find their, moments of relaxation and do whatever makes them happy. That's why a lot of people like love working out, love going for runs, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
me
Especially
being a basketball player, that's awesome. Like I'd
right.
love that.
Especially in a high stress,
Oh,
job
totally.
like the military, you gotta
Yeah,
be able to relieve that stress somehow. So,
totally.
all right. And next one is kind of just what was your favorite part about playing basketball in college? And do you have like a favorite game or favorite memory from playing?
I would say one of my favorite memories that sticks with me is my junior year. We were playing in our Patriot League tournament. That's the conference that we play in. And we were not ranked very high in our tournament. I think we were ranked number 8. And we were playing the number 1 seed in the tournament, Holy Cross at the time. And we were down by 2 points. We needed a 3-pointer to win. And we had called a timeout, and there was like 0.6 seconds on the clock. I forget the time, but like very small amount of time left on the clock. And we drew up this play, and I knew I had to get the ball to this one girl on my team, Jennifer Coleman, who was just like our star player. And so the play was like, all right, if she's not open, pass to these people. I was like, no, she's gonna be open. Like I'm giving her the ball regardless. And so I threw it to her in the corner, and she hits this like baseline fadeaway 3-pointer that like banks in off the backboard on the baseline. I don't even know how you can do that. And we ended up winning the game and upset the number 1 seed. And we all like dogpiled on top of each other, and it ended up being on like the Sports Center like top 10. Like it was sick.
That's all.
So that was definitely like a very core memory of mine.
All right. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties that our interview got cut off there a little bit. So we will pick it up. So what is your favorite part about playing college basketball in general? Not just a specific memory, but a overall part of
Yeah,
it.
totally. So I would just say like the academy was very unique because we went through a bunch of we were playing college sports together, which is already a hard thing, playing at a high level, you got a lot demanded of you. You're trying to be good, please your coach, do well on the floor, all those things, be a great teammate. And then on top of that, we went through all these shared experiences of like our little boot camp and just balancing academy life and being in the military and while playing a sport and going to school. So I feel like my team almost had this like sacred bond that was so much stronger because of it. People say like hardship breeds closeness, and I do think that it really brought our team super close. And those teammates of mine are actually still some of my closest friends. We're having a Zoom meeting on Friday to catch up because once we graduate, everyone gets scattered around the world. And one of my buddies, she's like, I can't make it. I'm on the ship. I'm like, okay, like, it's kind of normal, but everyone's all over doing different things and training. And so it's really fun to follow up, 2, 3 years, 5 years post grad to see where everyone is.
Yeah.
Because they're doing such cool things, like I'm learning to fly planes. My buddy's, you know, commo for the Marine Corps, communications officer. Our other buddy's a logistics officer for the Marine Corps. Someone else is on a ship. So we have all these now unique experiences that we can bring to each other and share, what we're learning in our own kind of separate bubbles, all under the military.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. And sure you're a lot more spread out than a normal
Yeah, yeah.
basketball team.
I have like friends in Japan. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, like you would just graduate and now you're
Yeah.
on a ship in Japan. That's crazy.
Yeah. All right. And then last question I have for you. Maybe the most important question of the
Oh gosh.
time we have. December 14th, so Saturday, was the last regular season college football game. Who wins? Army or Navy?
That's not even a question. Of course, Navy's gonna win. Navy 100% all the way.
All right. All right. I had to get that on the books.
Yep. We
Well,
everything that we do at the academy, it's go Navy, beat Army. So
all right.
I'll
Well,
always say go Navy.
I will. I'll hold you to that, and I'll reach out on the night
I
that
know
Saturday
you will.
night. See how we're doing. All right.
Well,
Well,
thank you.
thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. It's
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's so awesome to catch up.